everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to crochet this adorable striped tote bag, and I got so many requests for this on TikTok after I posted a photo of a bag like this, so yeah, I decided to make a tutorial and I hope you guys enjoy. For this tote bag you'll need a main and a secondary color. So for my main I'm using this beige yarn from Loops and Threads, and I used 3 of these, which was about a little less than 360 yards because I didn't fully finish the third one. And then you'll need a secondary color. I'm using this blue, and I used probably about 80 yards of that one. And then you'll need a crochet hook. I'm using a size 3.0 millimeter because I want my stitches to have a tighter tension. And then obviously you'll just need scissors. To start your bag, tie a slip knot on your hook, and then chain the width you want your bag to be. So I ended up chaining about 50 chains, but it really just depends on how big you want your tote bag to be. So here are my chains, and then once you're done with those, chain an extra 2. This will count as your turning chain and your first half double crochet. And then yarn over, and you're going to go into the third chain from your hook. So 1, 2, and 3. Go into the third chain and do a half double crochet. And then we're just going to keep half double crocheting all the way across until you get to the last chain. So insert 1 half double crochet in each chain all the way till the end. Here I'm on my last chain, inserting a half double crochet. But for your last chain, so basically we're making the base of the tote bag and we want it to be round. So in order to get round corners, we're going to insert 2 more half double crochets in that same chain. So you should have 3 half double crochets in the last chain, and you'll see this makes the corner have a more rounded effect. And here is the first side of our base, and now we're just going to keep working half double crochets but on the other side of the chains. So go into the back of those chains on the other side and insert a half double crochet in each one till the end. I forgot to record this part of the video, but I also put 2 extra half double crochets in the last chain on this side to make the corner rounded. And then just slip stitch into that first chain we made, and here is the base. To start the next round, chain 1, and we're gonna just do half double crochets in every stitch around. So basically the same thing as the last round, and now we're working in circular rounds basically. So just keep half double crocheting all the way around, and you don't need to do the 3 half double crochet in the corner anymore because that was just for our little base row. So yeah, keep half double crocheting all the way around. To end this row, we're going to slip stitch in the chain again. So you can see there's 1 stitch, that's our slip stitch from the last round, so ignore that, and you're gonna find the chain we did at the beginning of this round and slip stitch into that. So make sure you're not slip stitching into the slip stitch of the previous round because that will leave you with extra stitches. And here is our second row of the bag. We're going to make 2 more of these rows for a total of 4 rows if you're including the base row. So chain 1 and then half double crochet all the way around. And then once you get to the end of this round, we're going to do the same thing and ignore the slip stitch from the previous round and slip stitch into the chain to end the row. So here's what our third row looks like, and once you're done with that, we're going to move on to our last row of half double crochets. So chain 1 and then just half double crochet in every stitch around. Once you're done with those half double crochets, slip stitch to end the row like usual. And here is what the half double crochets look like. And now we're ready to switch to the other color. So grab the tail of your other yarn and pull it through that loop, and then just pull the tails to tighten it just so it doesn't fall off. And at this point you can cut the tail of your main colored yarn. Some people like to leave it on and crochet over it or carry the yarn with you, but I like to just cut the tail and then crochet over them so I don't have to weave them in. So then just chain 1 and insert your hook into the next chain, and as you can see I'm carrying the tails with me, and then just half double crochet. And we're just going to be repeating the same thing and half double crocheting in every stitch all the way around. So using your secondary color, just go into every stitch with a half double crochet. And once you get to the end of this row, slip stitch into the first chain, so ignore that first slip stitch we did in the last round, and slip stitch into the chain. And once you slip stitch, we're going to chain 1 and do 1 more row of half double crochets, but this time I'd recommend turning your work because this ensures that your project stays even and it doesn't become lopsided as you continue. And yeah, I'm just going to half double crochet all the way around for row 6. And once you get to the end of this round, slip stitch into the first chain. And you can see my slip stitches are going more and more to the left, which is normal for your project to shift a little, but make sure to turn your work because that will minimize the shifting. And once you're done with that, we can switch back to our main color. So I'm just grabbing my beige yarn and then putting it on my hook and pulling up a loop. And then you can just cut the tail of the other color and chain 1 in your main color. And now we're going to be doing a half double crochet in each stitch for 3 rows. So I know it gets a little repetitive, but eventually we'll be switching to a different type of row. So yeah, just keep half double crocheting all the way around. And once you get to the end of this row, slip stitch, start your next one, and do it 3 times for a total of 3 rows. So here I finished my 3rd row of half double crochets, and once you're done with that, slip stitch like usual. So now chain 1 and half double crochet into that first stitch, and then chain 1 again, and we're gonna skip this next stitch and go into the second stitch and half double crochet. So this is gonna make the little gaps in the row like the mesh stitch, and then after that chain 1, skip the next stitch and go into the second one and half double crochet. And you're just gonna be repeating this all the way around. So chain 1, skip the next stitch and go into the second one, half double crochet, and keep repeating this until you get to the end of the round. And this is how the mesh row looks, and once you're done with this row, we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch into the first chain. And to start the next round, chain 1 and half double crochet in that gap. So go into the actual gap and do a half double crochet, and then in the next stitch just half double crochet in that stitch above the gap. And then as you keep going, just half double crochet in those stitches and not in the actual gap. So don't go into the hole, just keep half double crocheting in those stitches above the gaps. And yeah, finish up this round and then do 2 more rows of half double crochets for a total of 3 rows. So here's what the bag looks like after those 3 rows of half double crochet. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, so after you finish those 3 rows of half double crochet, we're going to switch back to our second color. So just grab that yarn and put the tail on your hook, and then pull a loop through and then cut the end of the other color, and then chain 1. And we're going to be doing a row of half double crochets in each stitch. So just carry your tails with you and do a half double crochet in each stitch until you get to the end of the round. Here is what the round looks like, and then you can go ahead and switch back to your main color, and we're going to do 1 row of half double crochets in that color. So we're basically just making these little stripes. So do 1 row in your main color, and then once you're done with that, do 1 more row of half double crochets in your second color. And here I am doing my last row in the secondary color. So here's basically the pattern we're going to follow for the rest of the bag, and just repeat these rows again. So start from row 2 at the beginning of the tutorial, which is basically these 3 rows of half double crochets in the main color that you see at the bottom. And after you do that, you're doing the 2 rows in the other color, then 3 rows in the main color with the mesh one, and then 3 more rows, and then switch to secondary for 1 row, main for 1 row, and secondary for the other. So I'd recommend just going to row 2 in this video and starting over. And yeah, you're just going to keep repeating these rows until you get the length or height you want for your tote bag. So here's my finished body of the tote bag, and you can see I did the sections about 2.5 times. So here was like my first section, and then the second section, and I just did a couple more rows at the top, so about 2.5 of those rows. And now we can start on the straps. So go ahead and just fasten off your yarn tail. You don't have to leave a long tail because we'll be adding the straps directly onto the body of the bag. And just put your hook through and pull off that loop, and now we can start the straps. For the straps, we'll be doing 1 on each side, so 1 on the front, 1 on the back, and we're basically just going to be doing it on the right and left side of each side of the bag. So we're just going to start on the right side and grab your hook and your main color yarn and insert your hook into the stitch on the side. So when it's like folded over, just put your hook into that side stitch and pull up a loop, and then chain 1 to start the round and half double crochet into that first stitch. And now we're just going to be working half double crochets across until you get the width you want for your bag. And as you can see from the thumbnail of the video and like the little clip at the beginning, our straps will decrease and get narrower and narrower. So start with like a wider like a width for your strap. So I'm doing 15 stitches, and we'll be working decreases so it'll get smaller. But yeah, so I'm just going to be doing 15 half double crochets along this front side of the bag. Here are my 15 stitches across, and as I said, we're making a slanted strap. So to start the next row, we're going to be doing a decrease on either side. So chain 1 and turn your work. And then to decrease, we're basically going to be doing 2 half double crochets together. So yarn over and go into the first stitch and pull through. And then instead of finishing that stitch, yarn over and go through the next one, pull through, and then pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through all of them. So this is basically making a decrease and joining 2 stitches together. So this is what will make our slant for our strap. And then half double crochet across until you get to the second to last stitch. And once you have 2 stitches left, we're going to be joining them together. So yarn over and go into the first one, and then yarn over, go into the last one, and then pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through all of them. And yeah, as you can see, our strap is decreasing on both sides, which is going to make our slant. So to start the next round, chain 1, and we're going to be doing another decrease. So yarn over, go into the first one, and then yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through 2 loops, and then pull through all of them, and then half double crochet until you're at the last 2 stitches. So now I'm at my last 2 stitches, so I'm just going to yarn over and half double crochet them together. And once you're done with this round, chain 1, turn, and I'm going to repeat this pattern one more time, so I'll be left with 6 stitches for the strap. But you can keep decreasing until you get the width you want for your strap, but I want mine to be 6 stitches long, so I'm going to keep doing it until I get 6 stitches. So now I'm left with 6 stitches across, and that's the width I want for the strap. So now we're going to be making the height. So we're going to be doing rows of half double crochets until we get the length we want half of our strap to be. Because we're doing this on the other side, so you're just going to do half the length because we'll be sewing both ends together, if that makes sense. So chain 1 and just work half double crochets all the way across, and when you get to the end of each round, chain 1, turn your work, and do half double crochets across. And I'm going to keep doing this until I get half the length that I want. So here I finished the first half of the strap basically, so as you can see it's pretty short because we're going to be repeating the same thing on the left side and then sewing the ends together. So yeah, you can just fasten off at the end of the strap and leave a medium tail for sewing, and now we can go ahead and repeat the same thing on the left side. To repeat the same thing on the left side, we're going to go into this little side stitch again, but just flip your work because it's easier to just start from the back on this side, and insert your hook into that stitch and pull the yarn through. And then to start the row, we're going to chain 1 and then half double crochet the same width you did for our first strap. So for me it's 15 stitches. And once you get to the end, chain 1, turn your work, and now we're going to start doing our decreases or our half double crochet togethers. And yeah, just repeat the same thing you did for the other strap and keep decreasing until you get to the width that you did for the first strap, and then just do your rows of half double crochets across And once you're done with that, we'll sew the sides together. And here's the other strap. So now we can go ahead and just cut this end and sew both sides together. So you don't have to leave a long tail for this one because we have the other tail to sew it, so you can just weave that in later. And yeah, now we can go ahead and sew them together. So grab a crochet needle and put your tail through the needle, and make sure that both straps are straight because you don't want one of them to accidentally be on the wrong side and then have to sew them again. And now we can sew through both straps. So go to the front loop on the opposite strap and then just pull the yarn through, and then go into the front loop of the next stitch and sew through the front loop of the opposite one. So we're only sewing in the front loops because I find that this looks the cleanest, and once you're done, it's harder to tell that it was sewn by only sewing through the front loops. So keep going through each of the front loops all the way across. And once you're done sewing, you can just cut off the tail, tie a knot, and weave in both ends. And yeah, so once you're done with that strap, you can just repeat all these steps on the other side. So you can start on the right side, on the back of the bag, and make the strap there, and then the left side, and then just join them together. And once you do that, we'll be done with the tote bag. And here's the final bag. I love how this came out, and I hope you guys were able to follow along with this tutorial. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and check out my TikTok and Instagram for more crochet content. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video.